In late 2024, a crisis simmered in Europe. A Chinese-owned company in the Netherlands, Nexperia, became the epicenter of an economic tremor. The Dutch government seized the company, citing national security. Beijing retaliated, banning chip exports. And just like that, the assembly lines of Germany's industrial giants, Volkswagen, BMW, Mercedes, were threatened with shutdown. For many, this was a nightmare scenario, a glimpse of a future where industrial independence was gone. But what if it wasn't a nightmare? What if it was a wake-up call? The Nexperia crisis was not the disease. It was the symptom. The disease was something the West, both America and Europe, had chosen to ignore for decades. It was the slow, voluntary outsourcing of our most critical infrastructure, the hollowing out of our manufacturing base, the strategic decision to send the factories that build our modern world to a single competitor. Tonight, we are not here to talk about the problem. We are here to talk about the solution, because the West is finally awake. A great industrial race, valued at hundreds of billions of dollars, has already begun. The United States and the European Union are launching the most ambitious industrial policy in modern history. The goal: to decouple from China and reclaim technological sovereignty. This war for the future is being fought on two critical fronts simultaneously. First, the high-stakes battle to reshore the advanced semiconductor chips that power our entire digital world. And second, a quieter, more desperate race to break China's stranglehold on the rare earth minerals that power everything else. This is the story of that grand strategy. The American countermove. The first move from the United States was a $52 billion cannon shot. It's called the CHIPS and Science Act. Now, what does this $52 billion plan actually do? To put it simply, the government is offering a massive strategic bonus to any company willing to build advanced semiconductor factories, known as fabs, whilst on American soil. For decades, these companies built their fabs in Asia, where it was cheaper. The CHIPS Act changes the math. It makes building in America profitable again, and the money's already moving. This isn't a theory, it's happening right now. Let's look at where the money's going. Intel, America's homegrown champion, is receiving billions to build a massive new Silicon Heartland in Ohio. It's one of the largest manufacturing investments in the state's history. They are also expanding their massive campus in Arizona. But it's not just American companies. The U.S. has convinced the world's most important chipmaker, TSMC of Taiwan, to build a $40 billion campus, also in Arizona. This is a profound geopolitical move. It brings the world's most advanced manufacturing technology inside America's borders. At the same time, Samsung of South Korea is using CHIPS Act funding to build a $17 billion plant in Texas. For the past 30 years, the story of manufacturing was about jobs leaving America. This is the first tangible sign of those high-tech jobs coming back. But the CHIPS Act is smarter than just building factories. It also funds R&D and something called advanced packaging. Think of it this way: making a chip is like baking a cake. Advanced packaging is like decorating and assembling that cake into its final usable form. For years, we would bake the cake in the US, then ship it to Asia for the final packaging. The CHIPS Act aims to bring that entire process home. The strategic goal is reshoring, to create American jobs, secure America's military supply chain, and ensure that a crisis like the one in Germany can never happen here. The European strategy. The United States is not acting alone. The European Union, having learned its lesson from the Nexperia crisis, has launched its own EU CHIPS Act. It's a €43 billion plan, and their goal is just as ambitious. By 2030, the EU wants to double its global market share of semiconductors to 20%. But Europe's strategy is different from America's. The US is using its massive checkbook to reshore the factories. Europe is leveraging a unique, powerful weapon that it already has. They have something that both the United States and China desperately need, and neither one can make. It's a Dutch company called ASML. To understand this, you need to know how chips are made. The most advanced chips have circuits so small you can't see them with a normal microscope. To print these circuits onto silicon, you need a special kind of light. ASML is the only company on Earth that has mastered this technology, called extreme ultraviolet lithography. or EUV. They are the sole manufacturer of EUV machines. A single machine costs over $200 million. It weighs 180 tons and is shipped in multiple 747 jets. Without ASML, there is no Intel, there is no TSMC, there is no Samsung. There are no advanced chips for your iPhone, your car, or your military's fighter jets. This one company in the Netherlands is the single greatest choke point in the global tech industry, and it's Europe's silver bullet. In early 2024, acting on pressure from Washington, the Dutch government banned ASML from selling any of its advanced machines to China. This wasn't just a trade dispute. This was a targeted strike. It was designed to halt Beijing's technological ambitions in their tracks. The West had finally drawn a line in the sand. China's $275 billion countermove. But while the US and EU were spending their billions, Beijing was preparing its counterattack. And China is not countering with billions. It is countering with hundreds of billions. In 2024, as a direct response to the CHIPS Acts and the ASML ban, Beijing quietly launched Phase 3 of its National Semiconductor Investment Fund. It's known as the Big Fund 3. According to reports from Nikkei Asia and strategic analysts, the size of this fund is staggering. It's estimated to be over 2 trillion yuan. That is 275 billion US dollars. That single fund is more than 5 times larger than the US CHIPS Act. It is a technology war chest unlike anything the world has ever seen, and Beijing is deploying it in a brilliant two-part strategy. First, part of that 275 billion will be poured into a desperate moonshot effort to build their own advanced chips, to try and invent their way around the ASML ban. But the second part of the strategy is far more dangerous to the West. China is using the rest of that money to flood the global market with the other kind of chips. Legacy chips. These are the older, cheaper, less advanced chips. The exact kind of chips that the Nexperia factory makes. The kind that go into every car, washing machine, and toaster. China's plan is to overproduce these chips, drive the global price down to nothing, and bankrupt the new legacy chip factories that the US and EU are trying to build. It's a direct assault on the West's new industrial plan. The chip war has officially begun, the rare earth stranglehold. But even if the West wins the chip war, it could still lose the future. Building advanced factories in Ohio and Arizona is pointless. If your new electric vehicles, your wind turbines, and your entire green economy are powered by materials controlled by China. This is the second front of the war. Raw materials. We are talking about rare earth elements. These are the critical minerals needed to build the high-performance permanent magnets for EV motors and wind turbines. And here, China's dominance is not just a dependency, it's a monopoly. According to the International Energy Agency, China mines about 70% of the world's rare earths. But just like with chips, the mining isn't the part that matters, it's the processing, the refining. And in 2024, China controls 91% of all rare earth processing on the planet. The West has allowed a single rival to control the foundational materials of its entire industrial future. It's the Nexperia crisis all over again, but 1,000 times larger. It is the OPEC oil embargo of 1973, but for all modern technology. So what is the West's plan to fight this dependency? The friend-shoring solution. If the U.S. CHIPS Act was about reshoring, bringing factories home, the plan for rare earths is called friend-shoring. The strategy, championed by U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, is simple. If reshoring means moving jobs back to America, friend-shoring means moving your critical supply chains away from rivals, like China, and into the hands of trusted allies, like Australia, Canada, and Japan. Instead of a $100 billion government plan, this is a quieter, more strategic alliance. And just like with chips, it is already happening. For years, the only major rare earth mine in North America, Mountain Pass in California, would mine its ore and then have to ship it to China for processing, because there was no other choice. Now its owner, MP Materials, is using private and public funds to build its own state-of-the-art processing facility right here in North America. At the same time, the U.S. Department of Defense, the Pentagon, is directly funding another company, Lynas Rare Earths. Lynas is an Australian company, the largest rare earth producer outside of China. With Pentagon money, Lynas is currently building a massive processing plant in Texas. Do you see the strategy? One plant in California, another in Texas, both funded by allies in the U.S. government. The goal is to create a brand new, secure, parallel supply chain, a mine-to-magnet ecosystem that exists completely outside of Beijing's control. The race against time and the flywheel CTA. So let's pull back. The West has finally woken up. The era of blind globalization is over. The great decoupling is underway. It's a twin strategy. The multi-billion-dollar CHIPS Acts in America and Europe are designed to reclaim the brains of our technology. And the new Friendshoring Alliance for Rare Earths is designed to reclaim the muscle. But this is not a simple plan. With China's $275 billion countermove, this is no longer just an industrial policy. It is a full-blown technology arms race. It is a high-stakes gamble that will cost hundreds of billions of dollars and take the rest of this decade to complete. The question is no longer if we should do it. The question is, can we do it in time? Looking at these massive government plans and China's even bigger response, do you believe this strategy will successfully bring manufacturing jobs back to America and Europe? Or is it too little too late? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But building the factories in America is one thing. Controlling the tools that go inside them is another. In our next video, we will investigate ASML, the one Dutch company that holds the secret to the world's most advanced chips, and why both the US and China are fighting to control it. Make sure you are subscribed and have turned on notifications so you don't miss it.